Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing a 2021 launch, part of a seasons series dedicated to the 24 Seki or micro seasons of Japan. This is the Grand Seiko Spring Drive GMT SBGE271 Kanro, dedicated to the colors of autumn, specifically the night sky in the fall. So the watch, which is part of the Elegance collection, is 40.2 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel, 14.5 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 48.1 millimeters, and then 52 millimeters from end link to end link, solid end links, that is, across the wrist with a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now 19 is relatively narrow, and this is a dramatically box-shaped sapphire, so you can see one of the key features of the Elegance series is that it emulates the look of a 1960s Grand Seiko watch, and that's definitely what we have right here. The timepiece wears well on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. We'll throw it on my wrist so you can get a good look. If this watch were on a strap, it would wear well on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. On the bracelet, I feel like it's a little bit better suited to a wrist of at least 14 centimeters circumference. It's not a thick watch, and the case flank is sloped decently enough that it should fit underneath most cuffs. The watch has a nice counterweight to it as the bracelet and the clasp are substantial. Taking a quick look at the bracelet, you can see it's something of a hybrid of a dress bracelet and a sports bracelet. It has three primary links, but it also has rolled and polished flanks, and it's polished on its sides. There are these little polished intermediates. It has some of the elegance and contrast that you'd expect on a dress bracelet. Removable links are fixed in place by screws, and you can see that there are two half links so you can precisely size. The clasp is a single fold deployant that latches, and you open it with two triggers. Jumping back to the case, you can see that it has that shape evocative of a 1960s Grand Seiko, and this is the Zaratsu polish, of which you may have heard when reading about Grand Seiko. It is a tin plate polishing method by which the artisan holds the surface to be milled, that is the side of the case, against a spinning tin plate. Now this takes about 3 years to master as a craft, and the result is a lovely, optically smooth, flawless mirrored shine, much like the black polish that you see on fine Swiss high luxury movements, only it's rendered on the entire case. So this is a hand finished case. You can see there are little bevels on the lugs as well as satinated lug hoods to make for some contrast. The bezel has a vertical portion that's satinated and then a conical portion that's polished with a little beveled lip around the edge of it, and a sapphire that is designed with a big box section arc or camber to look like a 1960s plexiglass. Although the watch does include a push down crown, it's water resistant to 100 meters, and on the dial we see what Grand Seiko is specifically using to reference autumn. We have a dial that is a lustrous black with a cloudy texture underneath, almost designed to evoke the look of the night sky in autumn as a golden harvest moon is briefly blanked out by passing clouds. So we have that golden element in the 24-hour hand, as well as the printing on the dial for the 24-hour scale and GMT. We also have that sort of cloudy anthracite base to the dial that gives you the sense that you're looking at a night sky, something that has infinite depth. Taking a quick look at the hands as well as the dial furniture, the frame for the date, the logo, the indices, you could see that they've been faceted with polished facets and satin facets to contrast, and that in particular the hands are so sharply executed that they look like they could draw blood. These components are crafted by hand on diamond-tipped milling tools by artisans who just make these parts all day long for Grand Seiko dials. Now, the watch does include GMT functions, so you've got 2 time zones. One, you can see how I'm adjusting it, but the watch keeps ticking, or I should say it keeps driving, because it is spring drive. It doesn't have an escapement. And I can adjust the date forward or backwards as I travel east or west, but the minute hand, the 24-hour hand, the seconds hand, they stay in motion. Now, if I pull the crown out all the way, hacking seconds is engaged, and now I move both the 24-hour hand and then the local 12-hour hand, so I can see 2 time zones. The watch does include an automatic winding 72-hour power reserve. You can see there's a power reserve indicator down at approximately 8:30 on the dial. Turn it all over, we have caliber 9R66, automatic winding, 72-hour power reserve, 30 joules, regulated and assembled by hand by a watchmaker, and it has this unidirectional governing wheel. Spring energy becomes kinetic energy, drives the train, spins the wheel, creates an induced electrical current, wakes up the quartz oscillator. The quartz oscillator will then apply an electromagnetic braking to the wheel to slow it down and draw out the power reserve over 72 hours, keeping time to such a degree that the watch will only vary by plus or minus 15 seconds at most in the course of a month. But there are no batteries, no capacitors, no motors, and the reason the hand sweeps completely smooth is because there's also no escapement, just a unidirectional wheel that spins smoothly. It is a unique vista in the watchmaking world, this Grand Seiko seconds sweep. The soul of a mechanical watch with the precision of quartz. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.